You see, if there is one thing I learned from my father, it is to always finish what I start.
Okay.
So since I have started giving you updates on the resumption of trial of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, now let us review the latest developments. There was another court sitting yesterday.
Hell.
And if you remember, the first court sitting on Tuesday was mainly for the government witness to come and testify against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So for the set sitting yesterday, it was now time for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers to interrogate the witness. Something they call cross-examination.
Hold this man in the first place.
And those Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers, those men are not really smiling. Especially the lead counsel.
You don't know.
He really put that witness on a hot seat. If not for that mask he was wearing, we would have seen sweat coming out from his nose.
Jay.
You know that kind of situation where eyewitness don't go fit talk with I see again. At some point, the witness was looking at the judge for help.
Look at you.
Now, they asked him so many, interesting and intellectual questions, which I can't fuse into this video for a lot of time. But I have been able to pick out and summarize these questions into 8 very interesting and critical questions. So let us highlight the 8 most interesting and critical questions that the lawyers asked the witness and how the witness answered to these questions.
Continue.
Now, the number 1 question of interest, the lawyer asked the witness, did you find any object of terrorism on my defendant when you arrested him? And the witness replied, no.
You get it?
Second question of interest, the lawyer asked the witness, did you find any offensive object on my defendant? And the witness replied, the objects we found on him might not be offensive, but the actions behind the objects are offensive.
You think so? They're wise.
It's just like MC Jollof accusing a man of trying to kill me with acid.
Hell.
Now they asked me, did you find this man holding an acid? I said no, he was holding water.
She what?
They now asked me, this water he is holding, is it offensive? And I said no, water in its natural form, H2O, is not offensive. But water in the hands of this man can turn to acid.
Not too much.
But let's move on. Third question of interest. The lawyer asked the witness, do you know any other person that is standing in trial with my defendant? And the witness said, I don't know. So the lawyer continued, so according to your knowledge, my defendant is the only person involved in this agitation. The witness replied, that is not true.
No problem.
The lawyer said, okay, who are the rest? The witness replied, from what I read on social media, I know of Simon Eba.
Really?
Now the lawyer asked, so because of what you read on social media, you want this honorable court to sentence my defendant to death? The witness replied, I have said what I know. The lawyer asked him again, this name you mentioned, is he standing in trial with my defendant? The witness said, I don't know. The only thing I know is that he was arrested.
Okay.
The lawyer was that is not what I asked you. Is he standing in trial with my defendant? The witness replied, I don't know.
Hell.
And the lawyer told him, we are taking into account all the I don't knows that you have said in this court today. Now, fourth question of interest. The lawyer asked the witness, is my defendant charged with damaging any property of a person or the government? The witness replied, he is charged with terrorism.
Shut up.
The lawyer was like, that is not what I asked you. Is he charged with damaging anyone's property?
We must learn a lesson.
The witness replied, he might not have damaged the property personally, but he damaged it remotely because he instructed people to damage properties of government.
It can't hold.
Now the lawyer asked him, do you know any single person that damaged any government property on the instruction of my defendant? The witness replied, it is not my duty to answer that question.
It is not Igbo.
He can look judge. Come realize that the judge no send in papa. Now, fifth question of interest. The lawyer asked the defendant, the witness, do you know that there have been killings in Kaduna, Zamfara, Plateau, and Benue? Do you know that villages have been attacked, schools, mosques, and churches, and people have been unalived? Are these killings and unrest related to the agitation for separation of states? The witness replied, no. Sixth question of interest. The lawyer asked the witness, do you know that my defendant said that this country is suffering from corruption? The witness replied, that question is not supposed to be put to me.
Look at you.
Then the judge reminded him that he is not in any position to decide which question should be put to him and which one should not be put to him.
We must learn a lesson.
Now, seventh question of interest. The lawyer asked the witness, are you aware that my defendant said that this country lacks infrastructure? The witness replied, I don't know. The only thing I know is that he called the country a zoo.
Okay.
The lawyer added, is it a crime for someone to propagate an ideology? The witness said no. Now, eighth question of interest. The lawyer asked the witness, do you know any IPOB member? The witness said no, but I have seen him on live broadcast issuing instruction to IPOB members.
Photo.
The lawyer asked the witness, so which states are these IPOB messages directed to? The witness said majority of Southeast and some South-South states. The lawyer now asked the witness, these states that you mentioned, Do they have governors, legislators, and security personnel who are constitutionally established and who receive federal allocation? The witness replied yes. Now, the lawyer asked the witness, does it mean that the people of these states do not take instructions from their elected representatives? The witness said, I don't know. The only thing I know is that there are people in these states who take instructions from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And the lawyer asked him, do you have any evidence to that? He said, no.
We don't know why it's going on.
So, this is how far it has gone with the last trial. And I'm going to be keeping tabs on the trial as it progresses to bring you more updates.
Continue.
But according to what the judge said, he said this case has lingered for 10 years and he's not going to allow it to linger further. That before 10th of May, that this case is going to be resolved.
Clap for that.
So we are keeping our fingers crossed. But please, just if you have any time to spare, just remember that witness in your next prayers. Because the kind of question that they bombarded him with, it is too much for one person to answer. He didn't know witness.